Now, friends, our last speaker, our last live speaker is Eknoor Kaur, a senior volunteer with the Kids Play Foundation here in British Columbia, in the Lower Mainland. Eknoor is a first-year student at UBC with ambitions to pursue a career in medicine. She's been volunteering with Kids Play since 2018 and is now one of their senior volunteers. Kids Play is a nonprofit organization working towards keeping kids away from the lifestyle of drugs, gangs, and violence. In Eknoor's portfolio and the work she's done, she's helped to organize tree planting events. She's worked with several external organizations. And one of her fondest memories from her work at Kids Play and in this journey has really been seeing youth and adults come together to really plant trees in their first tree planting event as a symbolic action of communities with lived experience with differences coming together to plant the seeds for a better future. Eknoor, thank you so much for staying here, and we appreciate your voice. It's all yours.
Awesome. Thank you so much for such a heartwarming introduction. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking until the end. I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet because we are quite a bit over time. But I would just like to initially start by doing a land acknowledgement by saying I would like to start by recognizing and acknowledging that I'm situated at this moment on the unceded traditional territory of the Tsawwassen First Nations, and that I'm extremely fortunate to have the opportunity to learn, speak, and work on this land. Just to start, a little bit about me. I'm, again, as Yusuf said, I'm a senior events coordinator at Kids Play since 2018. I'm an incoming first-year student at UBC studying Bachelor of Science and in the Master of Management dual degree program. I'm also the co-lead of the environmental portfolio and a member of the Sikh and Punjabi community. I'm just going to start off by talking a little bit about Kids Play Foundation. Kids Play Foundation is a registered charity that was initially started in 2015, founded by Cal Desange, a veteran officer who just completed their 20 years of service in BPD. Kids Play's main goal is to combat the crisis that we have with drugs and gangs at the moment. So working towards keeping kids away from the lifestyles of drugs, gangs, and violence. And we're doing this through providing them free opportunities, free resources that will help them get a positive outlet to deal with anything they need to deal with. So in doing that, we've actually come out to working in 5 streams. We work in terms of running sports events, educational events, mentorship programs, counseling programs, as well as the environmental portfolio, which I'm going to be talking a little bit more about right now. Before I go into all of that, I just wanted to take a moment to share the motto that Kids Play has. We like to start off always by saying that it takes a village to raise a child, and we wish to be that village. So to me, this obviously means that it takes a village to raise a child, as in that it takes more than one person to give a child the skills, the tools, the resources they need to thrive and be future leaders, innovators, and so on. But other than that, to me and the environmental team at Kids Play, it takes a village also means it takes more than one person to act on the climate crisis. It takes more than one person to create sustainable change. So I just wanted to add that there. With that being said, I'm just going to quickly go over some of the stuff we've been doing at Kids Play to combat the climate crisis that's happening right now. To start off, I'm going to start by a personal story instead. Tree planting was initially started around 2019, I believe, early fall. This happened a little bit after I went on a road trip in Alberta. I came back from the road trip to BC, and on my way back, my family was driving 8 hours, and on the way we saw constant wildfires, smoke, everything, and it was just, I think that was the time it really hit me that the climate crisis is real, it's happening, it's now. And that was for me a really huge milestone in starting and initiating the portfolio we have at Kids Play. And because the wildfires are such an integral part of my realization towards the climate crisis, I wanted to do something to act upon that. And so did my fellow peers as well, who got to see this upfront at hand. So what we started was we started a tree planting initiative where we partnered with the city of Surrey, and we planted around 1,000 trees and native shrubs in the Lower Mainland because, actually I'll explain because in a minute, but we planted these because they're needed at the moment, especially because of the wildfires. And here I have some pictures Yusuf earlier mentioned one of my fondest memories was seeing the community, the children and the adults come together to kind of help the environment around us. And these photos just share some of that. They share some kids in the pictures, some police officers, all different people from all different diverse parts of the community coming together for one common goal. And I just find it really heartwarming to share that. So why do we plant? What I was trying to mention earlier, this year, I believe it's only been like half a year so far, but we almost had 1,500 wildfires in BC alone, 4,000 in Canada. This has burned near, I think, 2 million. Yeah, so 2 million hectares across Canada, which is obviously why we need to start rehabilitating. We need to start bringing that, we need to start bringing the native species, we need to start bringing trees back into our local economy. So that's why, just gonna keep it short, sorry. That's why we are doing that. So, 1 second. All right. With that being said, I cannot speak at this point. It is so late in the day. With that being said, our goal is to actually take this and moving forward in the next 2 years, we want to plant over 5,000 trees if possible with the city of Surrey, so we can help rehabilitate the environment around us and hopefully see a bit of a change towards what's happening with the wildfires in BC. And alongside the tree planting, something else my colleagues and I are working on, it's been halted due to the pandemic, but some of our upcoming programs, or some of the ones we have stopped and are having upcoming again, is our Metro Van Youth Coalition. So earlier, a lot of the speakers talked about the fact that we need to have everyone come together to make reasonable, to make achievable change. And the Metro Van Youth Coalition is something we've started with a bunch of other environmental organizations in our local area, sustainable teens and so on, that we've worked together to kind of come up with ideas on how we can educate, how we can advocate, and how we can take reasonable action at this very moment, and how we can keep it up for the future. Another one of our programs that we have up and coming is our Adopt a Street program with the city of Surrey, where we're going to be taking in charge of one street and doing our best to maintain it and kind of instill a responsibility in our youth and just the community in general about how important it is to kind of preserve the nature we have around us and how important it is to be grateful for what we have here. And our final thing we're actually working on is enabling others. So one of the things I find is that a lot of people in high school, like a lot of you mentioned, is that we have a lot of climate anxiety, seeing all the news, seeing everything that's happening, and we always feel so powerless to do things. So we're going to be starting a program, hopefully this September or later, sooner than later, where we're working with high school students to set up in-school clubs and programs that educate others and empower them on acting on the climate crisis. So our initial draft plan right now is that we're going to be going to schools in the Lower Mainland, starting with the Surrey School District. We're going to be presenting to them, and we're going to be providing them with opportunities, doing workshops with them, and giving them funds so they can actually start making some change in their community, and they can feel more empowered to act on the crisis in the future. With that being said, actually just referring back to this, but the last thing I would like to leave you guys with is act locally, and build. I know it's really intimidating for a lot of youth, including myself, to deal with just wrapping your head around the entire idea of we are next to deal with the climate crisis. This is on us, and it's really intimidating to know that it's on us. So what I suggest the most is to start small, find a near local organization and work with them. There are so many resources available. Kids Play has so many resources available. Just find a simple organization and go work with them and start doing some feasible change. For me, that was planting trees. When I planted my first tree, it just changed so much for me because I knew that I was actually doing something to change the environment. Because when I go back to that park, I don't know how many years later, I'm going to see that tree that I planted a few months ago. I'm going to see it grow into such a huge tree, and it's going to be a part of this amazing environment and all. And just being able to see that, knowing that you made that change is super empowering. And hopefully, as it did for me, it hopefully helps you as well be more empowered to make further change, to build, to take this to politics, and to go wherever you want to go with it in the near future. With that being said, I would like to take this last few moments to say thank you, and also say thank you not just as a presenter and speaker, but say thank you to all the speakers as a youth who was listening in on this event over here. To me, I've attended a lot of these events, and what I really appreciate from a lot of you is the fact that you're willing to be so vulnerable and share all these personal stories. And they all, honestly, they really touched me, and I'm so honored, and I really treasured the fact that I got to be here and got to listen to you. So thank you so much for sharing that. And thank you so much, Yusuf, for organizing this. It's been absolutely fantastic and such a refreshing event to be a part of. Yeah, thank you, everyone.